What a day today is. Los Angeles talking to Luxembourg, for goodness sakes. Welcome, Kira.
Hi, Mark. Thank you so much for having me.
No, it's my pleasure. It's great to be able to meet leaders who care from all around the world, doing some amazing things to make an impact. And I've seen through our conversations that you definitely belong on this series. So it's great to have you. And I think a good place to start would be if you can kind of semi-formally introduce yourself, tell a tiny bit about your background, and then let's chat.
Great. Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor to participate in Leaders Who Care series. So I'm excited to share my voice. My name is Kira. I'm originally from Latvia. If I can describe myself in one sentence, that would be investment professional during the day, athlete by nature, and entrepreneur at heart. Now you know everything you need to know about me, basically.
That was a great summary.
Thank you. Thank you. So I work in a real estate firm. I'm an avid athlete. I pride myself with a short but lived professional tennis career. And I'm a founder of a B2B wealth tech firm, Motko, with a mission to make the corporate world a healthier, happier, and more sustainable place, one firm at a time.
I second that motion, that's for sure. Well, there's that's a good summary. There's a lot more to talk about with you. But I want to start with, I love Simon Sinek and how he's done his work out there and talks about the why. I ask it a little bit differently though. Why do you do what you do?
I guess it goes back to my experience in my background. I've been playing tennis since the age of 5. So I learned the importance of hard work, of the right balance, of community inclusion at a very young age. And as I transferred my skills to the corporate world, I observed flaws. And what I saw was a lack of balance, of self-care. And this would sort of drove me to make a change. And the venue that I see is sports. I truly believe that sports can make the corporate world a better place. It's an essential part of self-care. And self-care, in my opinion, is key to social sustainability. If we want to take care of our planet, first we need to take care of ourselves in a mindful manner. And regular exercising is a part of that self-care. So what we do in Motko is truly helping corporations to understand that they need to provide the right tools for their main assets, their people, to be at their best, to be healthier, to be happier, to be engaged at work, to belong to the company they work at, to be a better place. So that's what we're trying to do.
Well, it reminds me of that old story, if you will, with airplanes. Although I haven't been on one in about 7 or 8 months now, I guess. About putting the oxygen mask on you first before you can even help somebody else, right?
Absolutely. And I mean, if we look at sustainability, we have a lot of work to do on all levels, on environmental level, on social level, on governance level. But in order to make a big change, we need to start with small steps. And the smallest steps we can take is taking care of ourselves. And that's how, we look at making an impact at Motko. We empower and encourage people to take the necessary steps for themselves to be healthy, to be happy. And when I say healthy, I mean both physically and mentally. It's very, very important. And when we ourselves are in a good place, then we can actually facilitate this wheel of change and actually make an impact in the world.
Yeah, it's a great segue to what I wanted to ask you. It's taken, decades basically for corporate leaders and corporate brands to align themselves with impact, with social impact, environmental impact. And to realize that it's actually good for their business to do so. It's good for them to be able to attract and retain the best talent. So now you've had, as you briefly summarized, but it's way more than that, you've had some tremendous experiences, investment, finance, real estate, entrepreneur, and certainly not the least as an athlete, pretty competitive level. You kind of minimized it in your summary, but pretty competitive level that you reached. And I guess I would call it, you scored a lot of aces if I'd put it into the tennis mode.
I still do sometimes.
Sure. So share with us a little bit some of the experiences you've had, because you compare sports to corporate. So some experiences you've had, you've seen, some of them you've felt with corporate leaders, from leaders, organization officials, people, your experiences that you've had, and that influenced you to make a difference in what you're doing now.
Of course. Now, this is a great question. So as I mentioned, I've been playing tennis since a young age, basically ever since I remember myself. And it all started with a passion. Like, I love to play. And so it turned out that I was pretty good at it. So I was playing a lot, I was practicing a lot, and I learned the importance of hard work and balance at a very, very young age. And, in order to win on the court, you have to take care of yourself off the court. So, the importance of regular sleeping cycle, eating healthy, making sure you rest, all these were key parts to being a successful athlete, to winning. I learned the true meaning of performance as an athlete. It's not about how many hours of practice you put in. It's about how you spend those practice hours. And in order to be at your best, to maximize your performance on the court, to bring those titles, you need to take care of yourself. And this balance, unfortunately, I do not see in the corporate world. I cannot say there's none in each and every company, because I do not like to generalize. Every company is unique. Every leader is unique. Every organization is unique. But with that said, if we look on the macro level, we see a lot of flaws in the corporate world. We talk about the hours worked instead of talking about the performance. And not only in terms of the output, but other stakeholders as well. Like, how do people feel at work? Do they feel like they belong to the company? Are they happy at their work? These are all, I think, are very, very important questions. And frankly, I saw it as a big problem in our corporate environment. So, hence the idea of Motko is really to change that. To make the corporate world a healthier, happier, more sustainable place. Because again, people are companies' main assets. And if companies want to keep performing in the long run, not quarter per quarter, as frequently, we think, we're not financial markets. We need to think about long run, the impact it has on our capabilities, on our performance, on our well-being. We need to think about how can we actually help people to maintain those levels of engagement, the levels of happiness, of health, both mental and physical. And another aspect I would mention is the diversity and inclusivity. So in sports, I never sort of face this problem, to be honest, because again, when you play tennis, it's all about getting the ball over the net and into the court. So it's all about that. And when you play sports, it doesn't matter what's your background, your gender, your race, your age. It's all about enjoying the sports and doing your best. It's a different situation in the corporate world. Unfortunately, again, it's not the same. And I haven't seen the situation improve since I've entered the corporate world. As a matter of fact, I can argue that we are currently experiencing a social crisis. I personally have been in many situations where I'm the only woman in the room or the youngest person in the room, and automatically it's assumed that I'm less capable, that somebody of a different gender or a different background. And when you work in an environment where you have to spend energy to overcome these challenges and these barriers, you cannot perform at your best, right? Because instead of focusing all your efforts, all your passion into your work, and being the best as a professional, you have to work through these challenges of being different. Whether it is being a woman in a room, or being different background, being different age, being different race. So that's what I see, a big problem. And I think one way we can solve is through sports, because again, as I said, sports is a venue where people meet simply to enjoy a common passion for sports, regardless what kind of sports or activity it is. And I think this can be a very, very powerful tool to companies to enhance their community, to bring diversity, inclusivity, to help people feel like they belong to the place where they work at. And I think we need it now more than ever.
Yeah, you bring up one of my favorite words is belonging, and there's been lots of studies about aside from air and food, that the thing that fills people's hearts and souls more than anything is belonging. And we spend enough time at work that it's gone way beyond. I never liked the expression work-life balance. Like, you don't stop work to have your life and then stop life to have your work. Maybe getting to the point where work is just part of life, and it should ideally, it can't happen for everybody, unfortunately, but at least be an opportunity to enjoy and to perform and to succeed and achieve. And you're right. If you can make it an opportunity, make the space for people to thrive in that, all positive things happen from there. And I think we learn a lot from sports in that regard, which is I think a lot of that you're articulating is from everything from leadership to inclusiveness to you name it, in sports. So, I mean, great points, which gives me the segue to kind of the next point, which relates to well-being, but more. And my grandparents were also immigrants. They came from Kiev into Canada, and they would always say with their Ukrainian Russian accent, as long as you have your health, that's the most important thing. And and it was interesting. It wasn't branding. It wasn't a slogan. It was real that they were talking about. That was the most important. So get your thoughts on, we got, COVID. We got technology going super fast still. We've got racial justice. We've got, issues with just social equal justice out there that's happening, and more. We got, hurricanes and all sorts of things happening at the same time. We talked about Mother Nature not being happy or proud, as you put it. I thought that was good of us. A lot of tipping points. So do you find that there is an awakening, if you will, among people as to what is important, be it at work, at play, and in our communities?
Absolutely. And I see it both, let's say, in business as well as on the social level. I think what COVID has done is really accelerated the trends that we've been seeing in the past couple of years. Essentially, it's a fast forward 5 years and 6 months, if not more than that. And to your point, I think technology will play a central role in helping us to improve our lives. I also don't like the word work-life balance, because I think it's such a vague term. Personally, I love what I do, so it doesn't really feel like work. It's a part of me. And whether it is my work in real estate, I believe in the power of real estate, in the power of environment impacting our performance, our well-being. Depending on what's your environment like, it can truly serve you as an inspiring factor and foster your performance. So I actually, for me, well-being is a part of my life, of my, from business to personal. But with that said, I think we need to better understand how can we apply technology to our advantage, not to our disadvantage. And what I mean by that, despite the fact that we have all these amazing resources at hand, technology has helped us to connect with each other. At the same time, we feel more isolated and depressed than ever before. So it's a paradox. And I don't think technology is to blame. I think it's more about understanding how can we use technology to help us, to help us on the social level, to help us make the right impact on the environment. The primary purpose of technology is to make our lives more efficient and to make our lives better. So I think in a way we've been misusing technology.
That was the promise, that technology was going to give us more time, and yeah, it is up to us to determine how to use it effectively, and that also leads, you're a good leader to the next questions. You make good segues. Would you think the role would be of the business leaders who care out there with respect to well-being can be put into categories, if you will. You got financial well-being, you got physical, you got mental well-being. You probably also have spiritual, which is maybe part of the mental. What role do you see business leaders have to play to ensure that their talent that's addressed for their talent, but also to understand that it's more than that. It's actually good for business again, and it flows into the community as well?
Absolutely. I think the key part is really understanding that each of us can make an impact, and for businesses to comprehend that, look, there are different stakeholders, right? You cannot only think about your shareholders, but you need to think about all your stakeholders. So to that extent, I think what we're seeing now in terms of the way we approach work, how we work nowadays, there are positive things that COVID has accelerated. Like never before could we imagine to have a AGM meeting virtual, so this is such an exciting change, because now it shows that, look, you can actually do your work remote. Yes, of course, we miss the communication with our colleagues, but with that said, there is an alternative. So what I think current times show is that there is a way we can use technology for good. And it all comes down to leadership. How does your management, your leader, how do they treat their employees? I think what's very, very important is to empower your employees so they can feel that, hey, they can speak up. They can work out now during the day if they feel it's essential to their well-being and performance. I think we're seeing a lot of great forces coming into play right now, and I think each of us is a leader. We each are a leader in our own way. We each have a very unique voice, and I think it's crucial to speak up because that's how we all learn from each other, and that's actually a key part of Modco. We think for people, in order to start this journey of healthy life, there's a lot we can learn from our direct community, peers we work with, our neighborhoods. There are many things, great things we can stem from each other. It doesn't only need to come from top to bottom, meaning from the management. I think each of us is a leader, and it's all about communicating. That I think is truly the key. Is communication, is having these conversations, bringing important topics to awareness, and actually acting, not only doing. Hence, I'm actually building Modco. So I also can, not only talk the talk, but actually do the talk and actually make the difference.
Well, you're scoring those aces, and I know I'm excited about what you're growing. And I have to ask you this though, because I loved one of your titles. I'm trying to remember which company was that. There's that Debtwire. Your title was Distressed Analyst. Now, I know, it wasn't distressed in the sense of well-being, but considering what we're talking about, it's an amazing title to have.
I think it defines well a chapter in my life.
Yes.
Distrust. Absolutely. That's actually very funny that you mentioned that. But yes, I actually don't think I realized until now you mentioned it how it looks. Distrust.
That might be your future slogan from Utco is, have you been a distressed analyst before? You know?
You don't mind I use it for the future? This phrase?
You know, this is diverse. Diversity is also diversity of ideas and knowledge, and it's not just skin color and stuff like that. And, you know, so yeah, be my guest. I can't wait to see distressed analyst trademark.
I love it. I love it. I love it. We're gonna add this one.
So hey, listen, super fantastic what you're doing. I'm looking forward to seeing more and more. You are an upcoming, well, a current and upcoming leader who cares. So we thank you for that, and thanks for joining.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.